Paw Patrol Marshall saves Everest, a story of a Dalmatian risking his life to save his husky girlfriend. This story is a sequel to Paw Patrol Frozen Fever. The basic plot of this story is Everest is going for a walk in the snow when a nasty snowstorm hits and she ends up taking shelter in a cave. But she later finds out that this cave belongs to a very large and angry polar bear. Naturally, the Paw Patrol are called to find Everest, but Marshall is the one who is most desperate. He's so desperate to find his girlfriend that he literally disobeys orders and runs off to find her, which eventually leads to him getting trapped in the same polar bear cave. And upon seeing that the polar bear hurt Everest, Marshall becomes so angry that he literally attacks the polar bear and even kills it. That's right, a little Dalmatian managed to kill a full-grown polar bear. Even Everest was surprised to see this. She had never seen her boyfriend act this violent before. And Everest was very sensitive, so seeing her boyfriend act this aggressive was enough to make the poor little husky cry out of fear. Marshall turned around and saw that Everest was crying, and she looked visibly shaken. Marshall, seeing that he made his girlfriend cry, immediately feels regret and walks over to comfort her with Everest backing away from him in fear. Marshall apologizes profusely for what he did, as he too begins to cry. Everest sees her boyfriend in tears and immediately feels regret too. She runs over to Marshall and hugs him tightly. The two then put their lips closer and closer to each other until their lips eventually lock in a kiss. Eventually, the two are rescued from the polar bear cave, and the others see the dead polar bear. The others were shocked that Marshall had the strength to fight a full-grown polar bear all on his own, let alone kill it later. Later during the drive home, Marshall and Everest are seen holding paws with each other, and they don't let go for the remainder of the drive. Everest even falls asleep on Marshall's shoulder. When the group eventually get back to Jake's cabin, Marshall could see that Everest was still a little shaken up after the whole polar bear ordeal, so he asks Ryder if he can stay with her for the night. And of course, Ryder says yes. And the story ends with Marshall and Everest spending the night together as happy as can be. Everest then turns to Marshall and says one final line before the story ends. "I love you, my white knight." Marshall then turns to her and says, "I love you too, my little snowball." And with that, the two share one last romantic kiss together. And that's how the story actually ends, with Marshall and Everest kissing each other.